Next, inside our VS Code editor, we need to set up our application, and for that I'm gonna create a brand new Next.js project using this command npx create next app, and I'm gonna put the name of the app, let's say AI assistant. I'm gonna hit enter. It's gonna ask me if I want to install the following packages. I'm gonna hit yes. I'm gonna use TypeScript. I'm gonna use ESLint. I'm gonna use Tailwind CSS. The source directory, I don't want to use it. The brand new app router, I'm gonna use it. No. Alright, now I need to wait for the installation to be completed. For the styling of this application, I'm gonna use the ShadCN UI library. It's a very amazing library that is gonna help you to move very fast with your styling. Alright, to install it, you need to go to installation, select the Next.js framework. Here I already do this part. And next, to install the ShadCN UI, you need to execute this command. Here, after my Next.js app is successfully installed, I'm gonna drag this directory here inside my main workspace, and you can see here I have all of my Next.js files. Now I'm gonna open a new terminal and I'm gonna execute this command from ShadCN. Alright, it's gonna ask me if I want to use TypeScript. Yes. Default, slate, yes, yes. I'm gonna put tailwind.config.ts. Here I'm gonna put yes, yes, and yes. And yes. Is to see if everything is good, I'm gonna write npm run dev. Okay, you can see I use the Next.js 14 version, and I need to go to the localhost 3000. Here you can see on localhost 3000 I have my Next.js app running. Alright, but I don't want this UI, I need to delete it. I'm gonna go to the app directory, to the page, and here it's the main content. I want to delete it to get a fresh looking page. I'm gonna say main. I'm gonna say my app. Now you can see here it say my app. Alright, so first of all here I'm gonna define how the first page is gonna look like, and for that I'm gonna draw a canvas. Alright, here I want to have a sidebar to look like a dashboard, and inside this sidebar I want to have the option to create an assistant. Let's say here I want to put a button to create an assistant. Alright, I'm gonna make this text much smaller. Alright, here it's the creation of the assistant button. Next, I want here to have all of my threads, just like on ChatGPT. Here you can see on the sidebar you have all of your threads. but you don't have the option to create the assistant. We're gonna handle this by ourselves. Alright, here you're gonna have the chats. Alright, so when you're gonna hit the create assistant button, you're gonna go to this page that is gonna look just like this one. Let's group this sidebar and copy it, put here. Alright, let's put again a sidebar, and here you're gonna have the create assistant page. Alright, and here you're gonna have an input with all that you need to create the assistant. Let's say here when we create the assistant, when you create the assistant, you need to define the name, the tools that you want, the model, the instruction, and anything else. And here we're gonna have the input fields for that. Alright. Next, here on the main page, you're gonna have just like ChatGPT, we're gonna have the interface with the selected thread. Alright, so let's say here we're gonna have the thread name, thread 1. Oh, I think I misspelled the thread word. No, it's good. Alright. Here we're gonna have an input field down here, and here we're gonna have the messages. We're gonna have the messages. And by selecting all of these threads, you're gonna change the content of this page. Let's say if you click on this one, you're gonna have another thread in the interface. Let's say here we're gonna have the thread 2. Alright, but here we need to put a button to create the thread. Alright, let's make this much smaller. Alright. I think if we have created an assistant, here we need to show which assistant did we use. Let's say here I'm gonna put the name of the assistant. Alright, and I think here we need to put a delete button for it to delete the assistant. With this in mind, I'm gonna jump straight to our application and we're gonna implement that. If you are not familiar with the Next.js app directory, here is the root layout. That means everything on the application is the root layout, and with this root layout you can separate every component. Let's say that I want our sidebar to be the same on every page, but the page I want to be dynamically. I want to change it every time I click on a thread. So for that I'm gonna isolate this sidebar to be on the root layout, and this one, and this one I want to be the page. Alright, so my sidebar is gonna be on every page. That means the sidebar needs to be on the root layout level, and everything that represents the page is gonna be on the page file. So for that, inside the root layout I need to create a sidebar, and everything else is gonna be on the page level. So now let's create a sidebar on the components. Let's say sidebar.tsx. Here I'm gonna use rfce. It's a very useful snippet. It is gonna generate me a component. We need to have uppercase letter here. Alright, I think the extension that helps me to import everything is called, let's say, this one, ES7 React Redux React Native Snippets. That this extension helps me to generate a component very fast. Alright, my sidebar I want to be a type nav. Alright, let's say sidebar. Now let's go to our local host. Alright, you can see that my sidebar isn't showing here because I need to import it into our root layout. Let's go to our root layout here, and inside the body I want to put my sidebar. Okay, I don't want from the React Lucid because this is an icon. I want to import the sidebar from the components. Alright, so now you can see that I have my sidebar showing on my page. Let's set for this sidebar a background to see more clearly the sidebar. Let's say class name to be a BG of black and the text of white. Okay, you can see here all the space that my sidebar have. Alright, next I want to position the sidebar here just like in our sketch, to put the sidebar here. For that I need the parent component to be a flex one. Alright, and the parent component of the sidebar and all of the entire pages is the body. So in our body, let's put the class name. Here in our class name represents the font, and in our today's application we are not interested on the font design. So here I'm gonna put directly the condition. I want the size of my application to be of the screen size, let's say height dash screen, and then I want to be a flex one. Flex means I want to put my elements inside of the body in a row. Here you can see they are on a column, and by saying flex, alright, I'm gonna display them on a row. Alright, now my sidebar, I want to have an width, let's say width dash 300 pixels. Is gonna make my sidebar of 300 pixels, and all my application is gonna contain the rest. So to explain you more about the root layout and the pages, let's create another page to navigate on it. To create another page, we need to create a new folder and put the page name, let's say page 2. Alright, and inside the page folder we need to define a page. For that we're gonna put the name page.tsx, and inside the page I'm gonna hit again rfce. Let's create a new page, and for that I'm gonna put, let's say, page 2. Okay, now we have another page, and to navigate between pages we need to put some links inside our sidebar. Let's say here I'm gonna import the link from the next link. Alright, and inside this link I'm gonna say that I want to navigate to the page 2. For the link I need to put an href. Alright, that is gonna be /page2. Alright, so let's style this one. Let's delete the sidebar. Here we can see that I have the page 2. Alright, let's say for the page 2, I want to have the background red 500. Okay, and now if I'm gonna go to the page 2, you can see here I'm on the /page 2, and this is my page 2. Alright, I want this page to cover all of the remaining space, and for that I'm gonna use a flex property that is flex-1. It is gonna say to this object to take all of the remaining space. Now for the demonstration I'm gonna create another page. Let's say on the sidebar I want to navigate to the page 3 /page 3, and for that I'm gonna create another directory just like the page 2. I'm gonna create the page 3 directory, and here I'm gonna put another page.tsx rfce. Create the page again. Let's say here page 3. I'm gonna do the same just like the page 2. I'm gonna hit class name bg-green 500 and the flex of 1. And now if I'm gonna go to the page 3, I'm gonna have here the page 3. And with that, I think now you have a good understanding about the app directory and how you can navigate between pages. Now we need to go to our root page, the first page, and here in our sketch, in our sidebar, first we need to create an assistant. So we're gonna put down on create assistant button that is gonna go to the create assistant page. So for that I'm gonna create a button inside my sidebar, but I don't want to design from scratch our button, and for that I'm gonna go to the ShadCN UI. Here I'm gonna search for the button. Alright, you can see the button have a cool design. And to use this button, you're gonna copy this command nps ShadCN UI latest add button, copy for npm. Here I'm gonna open another terminal. I'm gonna hit this command. I'm gonna execute it. And in the documentation you can see how easily it is to create a button. Just import the button from the UI button and put it with the variant that you want. Alright, after this installation you can see here on our libraries, you can see here on our components that it created a new UI folder, and here is our button with all the styling and the variants. So I'm gonna go to my sidebar, but to navigate between pages you need to have a link component. But here you can see how you can cover our button into a link. We just need to put as child and the link inside. So I'm gonna import the button from the UI button, right? And inside the button I'm gonna say create assistant. Alright, here you can see the button looks very cool. I want to be a white one, and for that I'm gonna put a variant. Secondary to get the white effect. Alright, but I need this to be a link, and I'm gonna put the as child property. Alright, I'm gonna copy one link, add inside, and I need to go to the create assistant page. Alright, but you can see if I go to this page I'm gonna get a 404 error because I don't define this page. To define it we need to create a page, go to the app and create a page by the page name. Let's say create assistant. Alright, here I'm gonna have the page tsx rfce create assistant page. Flex of 1, bg-blue 500, and you can see now we have the page defined here. Let's delete the test links. Right, so now we have this button that is gonna go to the create assistant page. Let's position this button how we want. For that, I'm gonna set the flex property for the sidebar. Let's say flex. I want the flex to be on the column side. Alright, so let's say flex dash column. Alright, we need to put the button down, and for that I'm gonna say justify and now I want to put the padding on this sidebar. Let's say padding of 5. Alright, so now our dashboard looks pretty cool. If I'm gonna put this click this button, I'm gonna go to this page. But how I'm going to go back? And for that I want to create a back button. I need to go to the components. Let's create inside the components. I want to create a folder just for the buttons. Let's say buttons. Alright, and inside the buttons I want to create a component that is gonna be a back button. Let's say back button that tsx rfc again. Alright, let's make this a button. Let's use the cn button. Alright, of variant secondary to be white. Alright, and inside we need to put a back icon. For the icons, I recommend you to use the React icons. Here you can search for the back icon. Alright, let's wait. Let's say just back. Here I'm gonna choose this one. You can see here the snippets to import it. But first we need to install the React icon library. Let's say npm install React icons. Alright. Now I'm gonna import this icon here inside my button. And with this back button I'm gonna go on my sidebar and I want to place it on it. Put here the back button. You can see here that the back button it's down of this page, and I don't want to do this. I want to be up here to have a smaller size, and for that I'm gonna set a specific width for the button. Let's say width of 10, and this is gonna make the button much smaller. Next we want to put our button on the upper part of our sidebar. Button, let's say on click event. Alright, I want to execute the back function. Now, because this is Next 14, here is say that I can use hooks just inside the client component. So I need to convert this component into a client component, and for that I'm gonna say on the top of the page use client with the lowercase. Alright, so now if I'm gonna click on this button here, I'm gonna go to my page, and you can see I'm gonna go back to every navigation.